So those are the three marks of existence. Impermanence, not self. There ain't no selfing. There's no self. Go ahead and look for yourself. Let me know if you find her or him. And there is stress and discontent in life. Because it exists doesn't mean there's something wrong. That's why it's a mark of existence. It just is. It doesn't mean anything is wrong. Everything could be absolutely right, and it will still be. That's a whole nother class about why adversity exists. There's some that say because God wanted to enjoy itself. That's not for this class right now. But those are the three marks, right? So truthfulness begins with accepting those things. And most of our difficulty comes from not accepting the truth of how things are. People talk about the Dharma or the Dhamma or the way, living in truth. This is the truth. The truth is we are not separate entities. The truth is all things will come, they will arise, and they will cease. And the truth is that inherent in physical, worldly existence, there is stress and discontent. It is inherent in our existence. It does not mean we're doing it wrong. And that's the truth many of us don't want to face. So I know you thought truthfulness was going to be something different. I know you ain't know this is where we were going. But this is where we going. So in the fulfillment of truth, there is the realization that the agent of events, of virtue and vice, is intention or our impulse and not self. Everything is on the tip of intention. We're going to talk about karma in a little while, but this idea that there's a saying that all anyone ever has, the only real possessions that we have are our actions and the fruit of those actions. It's all that will belong to us ever. Those are the things we take with us into the afterlife, the karma, right? And so intention is super important. And what I've realized in my practice is that when I can tap into my intention, it changes everything. It can change my perception of a thing. It can change my impulse, my reaction, my response to the thing. It might even change my view of the thing existing in my life when I can align with my intentions. In fact, if most people could align their thoughts and behaviors to their intentions, it'd probably be a whole different world. Many of our assumptions and the impulses that are biologically wired into us, socially conditioned, we don't decide to have them, right? And yet the voice in the brain or that surge in the heart is so familiar and so habitual that it seems like it's the real me. So if you notice times like when you're in a conversation or you're thinking or you're remembering something and then you get fidgety, you shrug, or you gotta turn away, that happens to me all the time. I was in the car today and I thought about something and I literally found myself going, in a car by myself, completely by myself, shaking my hand like I was talking to somebody. Right? So when you have to enact a deflective movement, that is that impulse, that energy that you didn't even control, you didn't decide to do it. It's like a conditioned reflex. Okay, whoever just joined us, hi EJ, we're so happy to have you. Can you mute, boo? We getting feedback.
Oh, sorry.
Thank you. So the first thing is to just relax into your body. Let the uncomfortable truth of whatever it is enter and pass. The truth is not about the words that are being spoken in the moment, but about the truth of how you're feeling. And if you can stay aware of the energetic process in your body, stay aware of that, steady your mind, be aware of what you're feeling, you can actually be able to speak your own truth because you're aware of it. Like I was teaching an executive functioning course to some teenagers this week, and we were talking about envisioning. And in the conversation around envisioning, then we did like a listening, active listening activity. And in the activity, I did this actually in a parent session and with some kids. And the activity was to talk about what you envision for your life and what you envision for the person in front of you. And then like some other prompts around that. And each person had like 2 minutes to talk without being interrupted by the other person. But what the job that they had to do was to not be completely 100% engulfed in what the other person was saying, but to keep 25% of their awareness in their body, on themselves, on how the words they were receiving was affecting them internally. So that then when they spoke, they were speaking from a place of not only having heard and received what the person said, but also being fully aware of how they were affected by said words, right? It was very interesting, the responses. One of the young men in the session said, I didn't realize that like parents had like their own dreams and visions for their life. Like that was different. He said, and he said he felt really good being able to hear his parent talk about themselves as their own individual self. And just the truth of that moment for him, because he was not just listening, but also paying attention to how he was receiving the thing. He was fully present in every sense of the word. And it totally changed his view. So you could try that, right? Like maybe you could try it out this week. Being able to speak your own truth is about knowing what it is first. And to know what it is, we have to be paying attention to what's going on on our inner landscape, as well as what's going on outside of us. But I digress. So now that all that has transpired, right? Maybe you were in the car like me shaking, no, to nobody that was in there, right? What was the container of that? Who witnessed it? The intention to be truthful is to come out of the floods of sensuality, of becoming, of views, of ignorance. Asking these deeper questions of like, okay, well, if I'm not actually the thought because I witnessed the thought. So there's an I that's not the thought that was the container or the observer for what just happened, right? Asking these deeper questions beyond the endless dramedy or the impulses, like Ajahn Suzuto says, of the mind. And so are you a seeker of truth? The truth that's between the lines, the truth of what actually is, not just what's on the surface. And there are many places that we can begin in mindfulness and meditation in terms of investigating what the truth of the matter is. And in the Insight tradition, most mindfulness and meditation courses start with the 4 foundations, or another translation is origins of mindfulness, which are, we tap into our bodies through our breath, mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of emotion. So we tap into our energy through our emotions, mindfulness of thoughts, and mindfulness of what's called dhammas, or our mind states. One example of mind states or dhammas would be the Parami, like how we're using this lens of patience, truthfulness, resolve, renunciation, as a lens through which to look at our lives and how they create a state of being with the world that can change everything. And so if you're mindful of your body, your emotions, your thoughts, and your mind states, this is the beginning of knowing the truth of who you actually are, because you're paying attention to it. There are 2 helpful acronyms that can help you remember this that I've encountered in different places. One is BEST, which I like, BEST. It's body, emotions, sensations, and thoughts. So being mindful of at all times, like, okay, what's going on in my body? What's going on in my emotional center, the energy that's going on with me? What sensations am I feeling? And what are my thoughts? The other is NEST. This one comes out of Kripalu. NEST is N, which is, I'm coming back to that. EST, emotions, sensations, and thoughts. The N stands for the level of activation you may find yourself in at any given moment. Because the truth of where you are in your activation level will determine how you are actually interacting with the people in your lives. So it's like a number from 1 to 10. Right now, engaging in this talk, I'm at like a 6. I am passionately engaged in teaching the Dharma. I'm not at this equal mellow place, nor am I in a place of despair or exhalation. No. Nor am I exalted in any way, super happy or excited. I'm kind of like just off center, right? So that's another way to keep in mind, okay, well, what is the truth of what's happening right now? Because the truth is an inner and outer experience, right? Who is the I? What is happening? Another way to look at truth is, well, is it really, really true? So another example I had actually with a student as well was, so if really our only possessions are our actions, I can't really take possession of this shirt. Relatively speaking, the shirt is mine. Like, I got it. I think I got it on 125th Street. My Afrocentric dashiki situation. And it's mine. It's been in my closet. I wash it. I iron it. I've owned it. But is it really though? Is it mine? Because mine would imply that I have some control over the shirt, or maybe even have created the shirt. How many people did I have to rely upon? Do I still have to rely upon in this conditioned experience to own this shirt? The cotton had to be picked. The dye had to be created. The cotton had to be dyed. It had to be woven. After it was woven into thread, it had to be created into a fabric. After it was woven into a fabric, somebody had to create a pattern of the shirt. It then had to be cut and sewn and embroidered. All those things involved trucks and ground transportation, possibly air transportation. It then had to be packaged and shipped and had a price tag assigned to it. It had to go from inventory onto a shelf. I had to exchange it for currency not created by me with the cashier. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on of how not mine this shirt is. And that's the truth. None of what I just said was a lie. But our perception, the way we think about the things that exist in the world as mine or not mine, as being affected or not affected, is really all a matter of perception. We have a health industry that pays absolutely no attention to what we eat. And we have a food industry that pays absolutely no attention to our health. Both of those things are true. And yet we know that what we eat and our health are integrally related. And so is it really true that the two don't know, right? But yeah. So where the truth is, what the truth is, how it shows up in your life is really up to you to investigate, right? And to be paying really close attention to, because we lie to ourselves. We deceive ourselves all day long about what's connected and what is true and what is not true. So the Buddha started his teaching, his first teachings was around the Four Noble Truths. We've touched on them a little bit here and there as we talked about the Parami. I'm not going to go into the Four Noble Truths, but I am going to tell you what the prescription called for. So the Four Noble Truths, his first teachings, is like a prescription for getting out of stress, unhappiness, and despair. So first is, we're discontent with most of what is. Second, we are so. Hold on 1 second. We are so because we cling to wanting pleasant and not wanting unpleasant. Like it's a natural thing. Like, yeah, I don't want what's unpleasant. Why? The things that are unpleasant, the black karma in life is what teaches us, what grows us, what causes us to become bigger and better selves, humans. Probably some of the most defining moments in your life that cause you to be the wonderful person you are right now came from adversity, not from a time of pleasantness and happiness. Third, there's a way to end that discontent, that stress, the way we feel. If we just lessen the grip of clinging to wanting what we want, even to clinging to the thought that we want what we want. And if we want to really do that, this is where we end up. This is the way to do it, the Eightfold Path. So the Eightfold Path might be one of our future courses, but it is essentially when you decide that you want to wake up, that you want to look at the truth of things, that you want to be mindful and in your body and in this moment more than less of the time, the Eightfold Path helps you to get there. The 8 steps, not going into detail: right view, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. All those things, just like the Parami, have more intricate and nuanced meaning than the words themselves. But the point is, there's a prescription for how to get there. This doesn't have to be an endless wandering through life, not understanding how to get to peace and happiness. There is a definite, finite way to get there. And there are many people on the globe right now that are experiencing more peace and happiness today than they were yesterday because they are practicing mindfulness and meditation. I am one of them.